Hello everyone, welcome back to The Divine Speaker. If you're interested in playing the game yourself, links are in the description. Last part, where we left off. Fawn got angry, went to get some fresh air, even though we are in the outside already. And Rain was gonna go after Fawn to comfort, and then Sign was like, "Don't worry, I'll do it." And Leos, smart man that he is like, "That's not a good idea. That wasn't a good idea to let them do that." Because this is something I was like clicked afterwards. It's like what Rain said is like, "Oh, Sign isn't gonna hurt Fawn. We don't have to worry about it." Leos is like, "That's not what I'm talking about." And what he's talking about is that Fawn is gonna hurt Sign. This forest really enhances like negative emotions, I guess, or any kind of emotions. And what I've been saying is that Fawn is probably gonna be the first one to snap. Just because of how much he dislikes Sign at this point in time. I looked back out in the direction the two of them went a few moments ago, whilst Ulron lit a fire and began preparing the meat.
You think Fawn would hurt him?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. He couldn't even harm a fly.
But if rumors are true, we already know Fawn can be can be murderous. He can snap if circumstances align.
I'm not so sure.
Ah!
Well. Out of the darkness, Sign sped into camp panting. I jumped up to my feet and caught him in my arms before he could collapse.
What's wrong? Are you okay?
He's insane. He's a maniac. He's going to... He wants to...
Slow down and explain it to me properly.
I just wanted to tease him a little, you know? But he went ballistic.
Do you really think this is the time or place to be working someone up?
I'm with Elrond there. Sign never seems to take it very seriously because from what we know, he's traveled through the forest like many times, just fine. But I think usually he's by himself.
I didn't think he was actually taking it personally. I just wanted to have some fun.
You know, he's a lot tougher than he looks. He just bottles it up when he's angry. I thought he was weak at first, but he's proved that he can hold his own. I wouldn't mess with him personally.
Is that a little respect, Leos? Elrond stood from his spot, leaving the food unprepared. He turned and spoke quietly to Varys for a moment.
I'll go get him. We don't want him getting lost.
Oh, well, I read ahead. A swirl of blue whirled into camp, straight towards us. He pulled the knife out of the rabbit's back and held it out in front of him. What'd I tell you, guys? What'd I tell you? His eyes were hollow, empty, a look I'd never seen before, so different from the kind, shy Fawn that I knew. He looking good, though. He walked towards Sign, whose face had morphed into a mask of terror. In an instant, both Leos and I jumped in front of him with our arms spread out to protect him.
Fawn, wait a minute. What are you doing? Put that down!
There's no need for this. Calm down and we can talk it out, yeah?
No, I won't calm down! He deserves everything that's coming to him! I'll kill him right here! His blood can still get to the roots around us and feed the trees! He'll die here!
Stop! That's not how you really feel. You're letting it get to you.
Try to calm down, okay? We can work this out without any violence or bloodshed.
His face became angrier and angrier, and the campfire flames became wilder, echoing his emotions. Elrond whispered to Varys again, who turned towards Fawn.
Fawn, please put that down. Sign means you no harm, and you don't want to hurt him.
Fawn took a few steps towards us, towards Sign. He yelped and sank back further, terrified.
Ever since you first turned up, I knew you were trouble. You only want to take Rain away and hurt him. You don't care about him, or any of us. Only yourself.
I like this. I like it a lot. I like this. It wasn't a twist. I saw it coming. But still, I was just like, maybe it's not gonna happen. Here we are. Here we are.
You're a narcissistic, useless, spoiled brat who wants to dirty everything he sees. The only way you'd be useful is 6 feet under the ground, feeding the earth!
Whoa, Fawn.
No, I'm... Shut up! Don't you dare speak to me! You have no right!
The fire sprung to life, spreading spreading menacing shadows all around us. Ilran, me, you can do this. Ilran waved at Leos from behind Fawn. He nodded towards him and motioned to grab him on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. They all sprung on him.
Get off of me! I said, get off! Or I'll hurt you too!
Also, voice actor, very. I know someone left in the comments. It's like, this voice actor does fabulous work. And yes, oh my god, I knew like since from like the start of the like full play, I'm like, here we go, guys. Here we go. This voice actor is gonna destroy me. Even with both Ilran and Leos pinning him to the ground, Fawn struggled and tossed around, close to breaking loose.
Rain, there's a bottle in my back pocket. Quick, get it and pour it down his throat.
What?
Don't hesitate now, boy!
No! There's no time for you to be indecisive!
I quickly dug around in Ilran's back pocket and found a single vial of an unknown substance. Fawn thrashed around, screaming and cursing. I'm so sorry, Fawn. I hope this will help. I knelt down beside him, forcing his mouth open and poured the contents in. His eyes were filled with loathing, and seeing them directed at me, it hurt. Only a moment later, his head lolled to the side, and he stopped fighting against us.
Well, he's a lot stronger than I expected. Lucky I got some help with that one.
His chest rose and fell softly, and his face finally cleared of its angry expression. He was sleeping like an angel.
You wouldn't guess it from a small frame, but he packs a serious punch.
The sign still stood stuck in place, looking down at the unconscious Fawn.
Don't let it get to you. The Amaranth grab onto people that are full of anger and easily swayed. And both of those things apply to Fawn. He wasn't himself.
Of course. I know that.
I can't believe that just happened. Can a forest influence someone that much? Is it truly the work of some lingering god? The disconnect between Fawn I knew and the Fawn I just saw was too much.
What did I give to him?
It's just a sleeping decoction. He'll be out cold for a while, but it's not harmful. He probably needs the time to cool off.
I gently picked him up and moved him closer to the fire so he wouldn't be cold during the night. His hair was wild, filled with leaves and dirt from the scuffle. I pulled out what I could and turned back to the group.
At least there'll be no need to keep watch tonight.
What? Why?
The only 2 dangerous people in the group are out cold. And I don't think any of us are up for a fight after seeing that.
True.
Tonight, we just rest.
But is that a good idea? The rest of the night held little talk. Ilran and Varys kept to themselves. Sign refused to speak. Poor baby. And Leos nodded off early into the night. I tossed and turned, unable to find sleep. There was just too much to think about, and I was worried about Fawn. Eventually sleep found me and I was whisked away into another silent, empty dream. In the middle of the night, 2 men sat leaning against a tree watching over the camp. One with his arms behind his head, quietly whistling, and the other with his hands together in his lap, humming along.
You said no one had to keep watch, but really what you meant was you be doing it.
Aw. This is like a little moment with them too. Aww. Ilran's eyes drifted to Varys. The warm, flickering light of the fire and the cool, silver light of the moon lit up his fair skin and accentuated his delicate features. His face was a mask of serenity, with the hint of a smile in the corner of his eyes. He's enjoying this somehow. All this activity. Compared to usual, this is much more lively.
Someone has to make sure none of them run off or injure themselves. You'd think they were a group of teenagers with the drama they cause.
It was certainly an eventful night, but with so many strong personalities in one place, something was bound to break down eventually. It all worked out fine, but I worry about the aftermath. I hope they'll be able to reconcile.
Aw.
There's not much to reconcile. They barely liked each other from the get-go by the sound of it. Oh well, who knows? It's not my problem.
Varys reached up and swept some of his peachy locks behind his ear. When he blinked, his long, dark eyelashes brushed against his pale skin in stark contrast to one another.
You already care about them more than you want to admit, it seems.
Purely for selfish reasons. I want their secrets. I'm sure they'll be the key to getting you into Aurelia Cavella. For now, we'll play it quiet and help them with Soren. Later, we get what we want from them.
Yeah.
You make it sound very methodical, but I don't disagree.
You should get some sleep. I'm fine keeping an eye out myself.
I'd rather stay here with you, actually. And I'm not tired, but I feel like I should be. Honestly, even now, I can still feel Nox's energy coursing through my body, from the top of my head all the way to my toes. It feels wrong.
There's something I wanted to ask you about. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine too, and I'll respect that. It's something I already had an inkling about, but I could never find the right time to bring it up. When Nox mentioned what he'd gone through, you said that something similar happened to you. I don't want to overstep any boundaries, but...
No, it's fine. You know I'll share anything with you.
Because you're married.
It was a long time ago now, but my body still feels it as if it were yesterday. I was staying by the Cape of Snowdon, in the city of Lasmere, several years after my parents passed away. Have you heard of Lasmere?
A little. They used to be known for their research into medicine, if I remember correctly. They were always at the forefront in that field.
Varys smiled softly, sadly.
Yes, that's right. The king of Sidcaeum commissioned the local lord to do this research after the Aurelian War, to show people that they needn't hold any faith in the gods, just science and technology. After my parents passed, I thought I could pass on the knowledge that they left with me and help to make the world a better place. So, I traveled to Lasmere and spent a few years teaching and healing. It was peaceful for a time. It seems that the peace can never last for people like us, though. Someone accused me of being a witch, and I was immediately detained within Lasmere's dungeon. Things they did in there were horrific, to say the least. They may have made progress in medicine by leaps and bounds, but at what cost? I wonder just how much they learned from my pain.
Oh.
I didn't know. Why didn't you try to escape?
I would have. I wanted to. But I learned of the other prisoners. They weren't like me. They weren't gods or demons or witches or any of the other things humans are so quick to fear. They were normal people. Some of them were children of the detainees or orphans with no home to return to. I never saw their faces, but I heard their screams and pleas. I felt their souls screaming out for a savior. I can't even begin to explain how much pain I went through. But hearing their screams, the screams of the children begging for their parents, was worse.
That's fucked up.
I couldn't just leave them there. No one else would have helped them. When I escaped, I made sure that research facility would never be able to be used again. The Lord didn't live much longer, and anyone that dared to touch any of those prisoners also met unfortunate ends. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's not something I regret either.
Yet his body is completely immaculate. If he was anything but a god, it would be covered in scars. Instead, they hide where his eyes can't find them, hidden below layers of composure. Varys.
What do you think? It doesn't make me much better than Nox, does it? I might justify it to myself, but But does the reason for murder make the act condonable?
Don't ask me these deep questions.
Don't compare yourself to him. The two of you are nothing alike. That was all Knox knew. He killed for revenge, for pleasure, for fun. There's a difference between that and protecting innocent lives. Maybe I'm not the best judge. I have plenty of blood on my hands myself. But I wouldn't have done anything different if I was in your shoes.
Thank you, Ilron. I wasn't looking for validation or sympathy, but I'm happy that you'll still accept me, flaws and all. You know, you've grown a lot since we first met.
I was a reckless, hot-headed kid back then. It's kind of embarrassing, really. I'd rather forget it.
Sorry, the blush.
You were brash, but it was endearing in its own way. The you from back then wouldn't have accepted me so easily.
It's thanks to you, you know. If you weren't there...
You would have been fine either way. You have a good head on your shoulders and a stout heart. Even once I'm gone, you'll be all right.
Don't talk about it like that. Vera's serene expression slipped for a moment before melting into a soft, comfortable smile. One he always did when he wanted to put someone at ease.
You know, I'd help you even if it took a whole lifetime. I'd go anywhere for you. Do anything you needed me to.
Are you sure you aren't married?
I wouldn't ask that of you, but I appreciate the sentiment. You have your own life to live outside of me. I've already taken 7 years from you, which is unforgivable.
I'm pretty sure it's 7 years he would never take back. God, you two, you love each other so much. It's right in front of your faces. Even Rain saw it, jeez. That's right. This can't last forever. He doesn't want it to either. He does, though. To him, my life will pass by in a blink of an eye.
Of course. I think we're getting closer anyway,
Idiot.
so you'll have to deal with me for a little bit longer.
Oh, God. I can't believe I'm tearing up how frustrating this is. Varys giggles softly, placing his hand on Elrond's shoulder and squeezing.
I think I can do that.
Oh, Lord. The two continue watching over the camp for a few more hours before falling asleep side by side.
Oi. Rain. Wake up.
Did Fawn leave? Did Fawn disappear? Was he shamed? Why are you waking me up? I sat up from where I slept and stretched out my shoulders. The firm, icy forest floor wasn't doing much for my poor back.
It's not like you to be up first.
Up first. I barely slept.
Oh, baby.
Not that I want to be picky or anything, but this isn't exactly the most luxurious place we've had the pleasure of staying at.
I agree.
I'm not sure any of the other places we stayed have been particularly luxurious. I mean, Soren's mansion was amazing, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, it's about time we got moving. Elrond and Varys just went to scout around. Fawn's still out cold, and Sign, he's been sitting over there by himself. He hasn't said a word to me this morning.
Oh, no.
That's... very unlike him.
He still seems pretty shaken about what happened. Hey, why don't you go and try talking to him?
I turned my eyes to where Sign sat. He stared down at the ground, a neutral expression on his face. I approached him slowly and waved to get his attention.
Hey, Sign. How are you doing? I'm... fine. I'm doing fine.
Don't lie to me.
You seem a little... You should go check on him. He hasn't moved since last night.
He nodded to where Fawn was sorry. I feel like a lot of that hate was on Fawn's side, and I think Sign just loves teasing him, and he does like he likes Fawn. He absolutely loves teasing him, but Fawn does not return the feelings. He nodded to where Fawn was still laying by the burnt out fire. It was true that he hadn't moved a muscle.
All right. Come get me if you need anything, okay? Yeah.
We're all terrible at the communication section here. I found my way to Fawn, placing my hand on his cheek. He felt cool to the touch, but that wasn't too surprising. It was absolutely freezing out here all night. His chest rose and fell softly, so he was breathing fine. I wanted to find somewhere else for him to rest. But it would have to wait. It's not much further now. You know what I was about to say? I wanted to find somewhere for him to rest.
You're still out cold, I see. I'm not surprised.
Oh, Ilron, you're here. When will he wake up?
Probably later tonight. That stuff was pretty strong, but not strong enough to knock someone out for days. Oh, we'll have to carry him, too.
Oh, cool. Our luggage has increased. He approached Soren, and with Varys' help, put him over his shoulder.
Pass him up to me. I can carry both of them for a while.
Sir? You can carry two, whole-ass human beings on you for the whole rest of the day? Well, we're supposed to be there in the morning, so we're still on schedule. All this crazy stuff happened when we were taking a rest, so.
No need. I'll take him.
All right, Leos.
Oh, worried I'll bite?
No. Wordlessly, Leos picked Fawn up in his arms. It made him look small, fragile. Leos looked down at him with his brows pulled together.
He weighs nothing, and you already have someone to carry. I'll take care of him.
Leos. I can't help but smile at him. When we first met, he was at Fawn's throat, but he's grown a lot already.
An extra body will slow us down a little, so I don't see us arriving before nightfall. And that's only if we leave now and keep up a steady pace.
Oh, Lord. Great. I didn't want to stay here another night.
Are you ready to leave?
Yup.
Yeah, let's go.
Ilron kicked out the smoldering remains of the fire and turned to leave. Sign stayed seated. Sign stayed seated, obvious to me calling out to him.
Sign? Huh? We're leaving now. Are you ready to go? Yeah, sure.
He followed me back to the group, and we started on our way down the beaten track once again. The walk continued like this for a couple of hours, with only small talk between us. Sign walked towards the back of the group, as quiet as a mouse. Fawn and Soren were still out cold, and Varys and Ilron walked slightly ahead, guiding us. The tension in the air was so thick, I wouldn't be surprised if I could cut it with a knife. I was worried about Sign. I'd never seen him so dejected, so quiet. There must be something I can do.
What's the plan when we get to Sidkayam?
If we actually manage to get 2 unconscious people past the guards, I'd say that your first stop should be somewhere decent to rest for the night.
Agreed.
Even finding somewhere to rest will be interesting. Even after that, I have no clue where to start. How will we find Caspian in such a big city?
Big city would be an understatement. It's the crowning jewel of Vidus, a vast metropolis.
No, that's not helping, Varys.
One step at a time, Rain. I'm sure once you're there, many opportunities will present themselves to you.
What about you two?
We have some other business in Sidkayam, so we'll drop off Soren and find you again later. It's likely to still be covered in snow, so I'd work on getting some warmer clothes, too. You wouldn't want any limbs falling off.
What about you, Varys? Aren't you freezing?
I'm still not much of a fan of clothes, but Ilron won't let me walk around naked.
And for good reason, too. You'll frighten everyone if you walk around dangling. I have to lug your clothes around everywhere, you know?
I wouldn't mind if you didn't.
Well, I would.
Around us, the visuals were slowly changing. In the distance, icy peaks rose in the sky, and the red of the trees scattered, giving way to white. Snow covered the ground just in time for the sky to turn from a vibrant blue to a deep orange. The air around us was quickly becoming chilly, and I wrapped my arms around myself to try and retain some heat. The immediate difference was astounding. It was absolutely freezing. I started to shiver and noticed most of the others doing the same. Leos pulled Fawn in closer when he shifted. Finally, we passed through the remaining trees and came out to a frozen valley. A river ran through it, and houses were built alongside it. But that's not what first caught my gaze. Built into the mountains was a marble city, accentuated with golden spires. The buildings rose up into the sky, and the structures were huge, bigger than I'd ever seen before. A large stone path led down to the riverside town, over a bridge and up to the towering gates of Sidcaum. The whole valley was covered in a layer of snow as far as the eye could see.
That's Sidcaum? It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Whoa.
Finally, I'm nearly home. It's been a long journey just for you to go home, right? You must be excited to be so close.
It hasn't been long compared to yours, but it's a welcome sight. I want my own bed.
Fawn shifted around in Leo's arms again. Seemed like it was finally starting to wear off. Leo set him down and I gently shook his shoulders.
Fawn? Fawn, we're nearly there. Wake up.
Rain? What happened?
We're okay now. Sidcaum's finally in sight.
Oh no, I didn't mean...
Oh no, is he gonna cry? Looked towards Sign, but he turned away, not bleh. He looked towards Sign, but he looked away, not making eye contact. He is shamed. Fawn stood up from the ground, facing away from Sign.
So, this
You can't
is
leave it
Sidcaum.
like this, yo.
Never in my life did I think I'd see such a place. And it's freezing. I can't feel anything.
I looked towards Sign, who was even more quiet than before, then back to Fawn, whose face couldn't hide the disappointment he must have been feeling in himself.
Fawn, how are you feeling? Once you're inside the city, you'll be able to warm up.
Yeah.
Y'all have to talk it out, I swear to God.
I never got the chance to tell you, did I? Your singing is beautiful. It's what led us to you in Stagwitch. Even before I became a god, I've always loved music. Your voice is magical.
Thank you.
In a puff of smoke, Varys' poncho fell to the ground, and a small blue bird landed on Fawn's finger. He tweeted a few times, hopping up and down. Fawn's face went from surprise to a soft smile, and he gently touched his finger to Varys' head.
You guys can have your happy reunion later. I'm freezing my balls off out here. Let's go.
The path led us through the frozen valley and the outlying buildings. They were humble compared to the white and gold staples of the city. Steeples? I can't read. The residents watched us out of the corner of their eyes, but I wasn't surprised by that. A large group of underdressed travelers, dirty from days of travel, one with a body over his shoulder. Still, we carried onwards and upwards to the huge gates that marked the entry to Sidcaum. The setting sun lit up the city, practically making it glow, but only for a moment. The last ray of sunshine fell behind the mountains, and the valley was nearly instantly plunged into darkness. Just before we rounded the corner to be met with the entryway, Ilron stopped in his tracks.
Wait here.
Okay.
Where are you going?
To have a little chat with the guards. I'm sure I know them from somewhere.
He walked towards the gates by himself, and I secretly poked my head around the corner to check on him. He pulled the guards to the side and whispered something into their ears for a moment. The guards' faces changed from confused to shocked, then to horror-stricken. They both nodded and went back to their posts. They were decked out in full suits of plated armor, colored silver and gold. It looked like it was less for protection and more for looks. I had to admit, they did look pretty threatening, scabbards hanging by their side loosely, the swords probably never removed from their sheaths. Ilron motioned for us to follow him, and he walked the rest of the way up the path and through the gates. The guards looked away from us. Sorry. The guards looked away from us as we passed, pretending not to see us. An eagle sat perched on top of the massive gates as if on guard himself. That eagle, I swear to God, if that eagle is a thing. Achievement unlocked. The Land of Snow. We're gonna stop here, everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you're interested in playing the game yourself, I have links in the description. Always check the links in the description. They are helpful. They're there for you. I'll see you next time. Did that sound like a question? I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.